All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this strong 6th grade personal narrative aloud to you. Look up and watch the show. And I want you to really listen in for examples that go with the checklist points that we just looked at. When you hear the writer of this piece doing those things on the checklist, we're going to think about going ahead and marking them up on the text. Let me give you an example of what I'm thinking. Student writing exemplar, look up and watch the show. I'll definitely get my name on this. And I always like to put the date on things. I walked up the stairs of the subway. We were almost there. I had been waiting to see this for my whole life. 5 years before this, I had been asking, Mom, can I go to the fireworks? My mom always replied, no, honey, maybe next year. Dad, can I go to the fireworks? All my friends have. You're too young and it's too late. This went on for the next 5 years. So I'm already noticing right away that this, is a change in time. So the writer has gone through and given us a glimpse as to the last 5 years, how much they want to see the fireworks. Finally, I asked, and they said, yes. I jumped up and down and kissed and hugged them 8 times. They said I was now old enough. I couldn't wait to tell my friends. One thing you might be noticing right away is, why are we using this as a mentor text when we read Everything Will Be Okay, which was a pretty strong mentor text? Remember, this is a 6th grade example of a mentor text. Everything Will Be Okay was written by an adult. So know that's the difference in writing that we're seeing here. So I can tell right here in this scene, let me go back and look at the rubric. Internal thinking, developing realistic characters. So I guess this is developing realistic characters. I should write in pencil. Don't write in highlighter. And then I've got change in time. And what else did it say? Internal thinking that contribute to the deeper meaning. Now this is not internal thinking, but this is external action that goes to the deeper meaning. This girl or boy, do we know yet, really wants to go see the fireworks. All right, let me go on. And here we are, an hour early, staring eagerly at the starlit sky. I looked at the barges straight ahead of me. They were ready to fire. I imagined streams of color floating out of them in every direction, like 10 hoses with 10 different colors of water. Oh, I noticed that this writer is really already starting to slow down the moment. Which, if we think, this whole first part was like 5 years. Now this next part is like them walking up to this area where they're going to do the fireworks. So I can tell that they're really slowing down. I also noticed some of this descriptive language, and if I remember from the rubric, one of the things on the rubric underneath the category of craft was using descriptive language, figurative language, symbolism. And so this writer has done a nice job of going through and giving some figurative language to help us picture what this looks like. So we know that this is a simile. Starlit sky, I think that's a really descriptive word. I like that. For the next hour, I asked my parents at least 100 times, when is it starting? My parents were giving me dirty looks. They were annoyed, but I really couldn't help myself. I think this different characters is going on right here. Do you think so, guys? Like, if I'm looking at this, this is showing the difference in characters because the parents are annoyed. That's showing, obviously, we know what that can look like and feel like. Giving dirty looks. But she's like, I don't care. I could really care less. So characters, how did it phrase that in the rubric? Different kinds of language. Then, boom, crackle, crackle, boom, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and white all seemed to be falling on me, screaming, hi, nice to meet you. They were saying to most of the other people, I remember you from last year. All right, this is figurative language for sure. The idea that the fireworks are talking to her, I mean, we don't want to think that she's crazy, right? So we're going to go with its figurative language, but how cool of that, the fireworks falling and screaming on her, how excited that she is. That's definitely going back to the rubric and using that figurative language. My eyes just popped up here to this relationship between characters. That also, if I'm backing up for a minute, this also was a relationship between characters. So do you see, writers, how I'm reading this mentor text to get the storyline, but I'm also reading it thinking, how am I doing on this rubric? I'm going to have you pause the video and continue making marks on the rest of it. So you watched me as I did the examples. Now I want you to try finishing the story, stopping and jotting, going back to the rubric, only looking at elaboration and craft and how is the writer doing. You don't need to assess in these categories. If you want to, you can, but you don't need to.